All right, you beautiful bastards. Let's cut the crap and dive headfirst into the world of Leonardo da Vinci.
Sounds good to me.
You think you know him.
Right, Mona Lisa, that smug-ass smile. We're going way past that tourist trap bullshit.
Definitely beyond the surface level.
We've got a stack of sources from Wikipedia about his paintings and scribbles, and let me tell you,
Oh, yeah.
it's enough to make your bollocks tingle.
Interesting.
Get ready to have your assumptions shattered like a cheap pint glass in a pub brawl.
So what's fascinating here is that for someone touted as a prolific artistic genius,
Yeah.
there are only a handful of works definitively attributed to him.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
You're telling me the guy who supposedly did everything but invent the bloody wheel
Oh, he was busy.
only has a couple paintings we know for sure are his?
Around 8 major works are universally accepted as being solely by Leonardo.
8.
Yeah.
That's it, bollocks. What the hell is this wanker doing with his time?
Well, it seems even geniuses can be masters of procrastination.
Procrastination? What do you mean? He was notorious for starting projects and then flitting off to some other shiny thing that caught his eye.
So we're talking about the heavy hitters like The Last Supper and Mona Lisa.
Right.
The ones even your Nan would recognize, right?
Exactly. Then you've got the Virgin of the Rocks, the Virgin and Child with St. Anne,
Yeah.
and St. John the Baptist, all pretty iconic and firmly attributed to him.
Okay, but what about that weird one with Ferret or whatever the hell it is?
You mean Lady with an Ermine?
Is that what it's called?
It's considered a masterpiece, but its history is more fucked up than a football riot.
Right. Spill the tea. What's the story with this Ferret fancier painting?
It's been stolen multiple times, smuggled across borders,
No way.
and even ended up in the grubby mitts of the Nazis during World War II. It's seen some shit, let me tell you.
Bloody hell. Makes you wonder if the Irma's thinking, get me the fuck out of this painting. I've seen enough for one lifetime.
Quite possibly. Now, beyond those undisputed works,
Right.
there's a whole category where scholars suspect Leonardo's involvement, but things get murky.
So we're talking about art world conspiracy theories now. Like,
Yeah.
did he have a secret apprentice churning out knockoffs or what?
It wasn't quite like that.
Okay.
There's one called The Portrait of a Musician,
Portrait of a musician.
which most scholars believe was a collaborative effort between Leonardo and his students.
So the master was slacking off and letting the underlings handle the boring bits?
Typical.
It seems to have been a recurring theme with Da Vinci. He'd start a project, get bored,
Yeah,
and leave his apprentices to finish the fiddly bits.
right.
Case in point, the Adoration of the Magi.
The Adoration of the... Hang on, refresh my memory. What the hell is that one?
Another unfinished masterpiece.
Really?
And we're not talking about a painting that's just missing a few finishing touches. It's a proper mess.
Okay.
There's even evidence someone slathered on varnish centuries later to try and make it look less like a drunken toddler had attacked it with a paintbrush.
It's like putting lipstick on a pig, trying to polish a turd.
Precisely. But then there's the Battle of Anghiari, which is even worse. Oh, yeah. How could it be worse than a Varnum disaster piece?
It's vanished. Poof, gone.
What?
All we have are copies made by other artists.
Seriously.
Imagine that one of Da Vinci's most important works, and it's straight up a wall.
What a monumental cock-up. You'd think someone would have at least snapped a quick photo with their iPhone before it disappeared.
Well, mobile phone photography wasn't exactly a thing back in the 16th century.
Right, good point.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the definitely Da Vinci pile,
Right.
the maybe Da Vinci pile, and the lost to the mists of time pile. But let's be real.
Okay.
This bloke wasn't just some paint-splattering ponce. Didn't he also do a bit of inventing on the side?
Let's cut the crap about just paintings.
Right.
The man was a polymath, a certified genius.
Some polymath.
He didn't just dabble. He dived headfirst into anatomy, engineering, architecture, you name it.
Hold on, are we talking about those scribbles in his notebooks that look like a chicken scratched them out?
Those scribbles were revolutionary designs.
Human.
Flying machines, submarines, war machines. The man was practically designing shit straight out of science fiction.
Are you telling me Da Vinci was basically a time-traveling badass? Like Doctor Who with a paintbrush?
He was certainly centuries ahead of his time.
Wow.
We're talking about 11 surviving manuscripts.
11.
Thousands of pages of notes and drawings crammed full of ideas that wouldn't be realized for hundreds of years.
Seriously.
Two of the most famous are the Codex Atlanticus and Codex Windsor,
Codex what?
covering everything from the human body to the flow of water.
Okay, now this is getting juicy. Flying machines, underwater shenanigans, and cutting up dead bodies.
He was a busy guy.
What else did this mad scientist come up with?
The list is longer than a pub crawl on a Friday night. He even designed fortifications and weapons for war.
Sounds like he had a bit of a dark side. Maybe he wasn't such a nice guy after all.
Well, it's a different time. Back then, being a genius often meant being a warlord's consultant.
Fair enough. So we've got confirmed Da Vinci's, maybe Da Vinci's, and lost Da Vinci's.
We do.
But are there any works where people are ready to chuck a pint glass at each other over whether they're real or not?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the kind of shit that gets art historians all riled up.
That's where things get really spicy. We're talking about the disputed works.
Okay.
The paintings that cause more arguments than a drunken debate about football.
Hit me with the most controversial one.
Yeah.
The one that's got everyone's knickers in a twist.
Salvator Mundi. This painting caused an absolute shitstorm in the art world.
Really?
It's sold for an obscene amount of money, even though some experts reckon it's not a fully fledged Da Vinci.
Hold on, how much are we talking here? Like a $5 and a bag of crisps?
Think more along the lines of $450 million.
Holy shit. For a painting, that might be a fake.
It's crazy.
That's some seriously fucked up shit.
Right. Some say it was mostly done by his assistants.
Okay.
With maybe a few dabs from the master himself. Others say it's a complete sham. The debate rages on.
Okay, what else is causing a ruckus in the art world? Give me another one.
There's the Dreyfus Madonna, which has people squabbling like toddlers over a broken toy.
What's that one all about?
Some think it's a super early Da Vinci,
An early Da Vinci.
while others think the baby Jesus looks so bloody awful that it couldn't possibly be his work.
A messed up baby Jesus. That's brilliant. I need to see this.
Let's just say it's unique.
All right, so we've got a right royal mess on our hands.
It is a bit messy.
We've got confirmed masterpieces, team efforts, lost treasures and paintings that are causing art historians to go completely mental.
True.
Where the hell do we even begin to make sense of this lot?
Well, let's delve deeper into those disputed works.
Okay.
They offer a fascinating glimpse into Da Vinci's working methods and how his style supposedly evolved over time.
Okay, I'm game. But first, I need a pint.
Yeah.
And maybe a lie down. This Da Vinci fella is doing my head in.
I hear that. Right then, let's wade back into the cesspool of disputed Da Vincis.
Okay.
We were having a chinwag about the Dreyfus Madonna, weren't we?
Yeah, the one with the baby Jesus that looks like it was drawn by a blindfolded chimpanzee. What's the crack with that one?
Well, crack might be pushing it. It's more like unsettlingly odd. It's a small painting, and the baby Jesus is clutching a pomegranate, which is, a symbol of Christ's passion and all that.
Okay, so deep religious stuff.
Yeah.
But why are people getting their knickers in a twist over it? Is it because the pomegranate looks like a potato?
It's the style or lack thereof that's causing the kerfuffle.
Okay.
Some experts reckon it's just too primitive for a Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Even if we're talking about young Leo just starting out.
Right.
They say the anatomy is wonky, the proportions are all over the shop, and the whole thing looks amateurish.
So like someone's first attempt at painting after a few too many pints down the pub.
Let's just say it's not exactly Michelangelo's David.
Right.
But here's the kicker.
Okay.
There are some details that scream Da Vinci.
Really? What do you mean?
The way the light hits the figures, the subtle shading, the almost ghostly look on Mary's face. It's all very reminiscent of his style.
So maybe it was an early Da Vinci before he figured out how to draw babies properly.
Precisely. Or it could be a student's work heavily influenced by Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a joint effort between the two.
Right.
We're just not bloody sure.
So it's like a big fat question mark hanging over the art world.
Yep.
The kind of thing that keeps those stuffy art historians arguing for centuries.
You've got it. And that's what makes these disputed works so bloody fascinating. They force us to really scrutinize Da Vinci's work, his techniques, and how his style supposedly developed.
Right.
We have to ask ourselves,
Okay.
what makes a Da Vinci? What are the telltale signs?
Okay. Deep thoughts. I like it.
Right.
But let's get back to the dosh. We were talking about Salvator Mundi and that eye-watering price tag.
Yeah.
Why are people willing to shell out millions for a painting that might be a load of bollocks?
It's a cocktail of factors.
But-
First, you've got the subject matter.
Yeah.
Christ is the savior of the world. It's a pretty powerful image,
Right.
even for those who aren't particularly religious. Then there's the history. It was considered lost for centuries.
Right.
Then it pops up in a private collection,
Real.
all shrouded in mystery and intrigue.
So it's like a lost treasure, like something out of a pirate movie.
Exactly. But the main reason it went for so much is that it was attributed to Da Vinci. Even if there are doubts about its authenticity,
Yeah.
the mere possibility of it being a genuine Da Vinci was enough to send the price skyrocketing.
People are obsessed with owning a piece of history, aren't they? Even if it's just a smudge of paint from some dead bloke.
It's the allure of genius. Da Vinci represents this pinnacle of human achievement,
Okay.
this crazy blend of art, science, and innovation. People are drawn to that, and they'll pay a king's ransom for a piece of it.
So even if Salvator Mundi turns out to be a fake, it's still a testament to Da Vinci's enduring influence. Like his ghost is still making money centuries after he kicked the bucket.
In a way, yes. His legacy is so powerful that it can create value even when there's no certainty.
Okay, I get it. Da Vinci's the original rock star of the art world. But let's chat about some of the other disputed works. What else is out there that's got the art world in a tizzy?
Well, there's La Bella Principessa,
La Bella.
which has caused quite a stir.
Okay.
It's a portrait of a young woman,
Right.
drawn with colored chalk and ink on vellum.
Fancy stuff.
Well-
What's the beef with this one? Is she giving someone the finger or what?
It's all about the attribution.
Attribution.
For years, everyone thought it was a 19th century German piece.
Really?
Then along comes this art historian, Martin Kemp, in 2009,
Martin Kemp.
and he drops this bombshell.
Yeah.
Nope, this is a Da Vinci.
Hang on. How did he figure that out? Did he have some kind of art world X-ray vision or something?
He looked at a bunch of things.
Okay, like what?
The drawing style, the technique used, and even a fingerprint that he claimed matched one found on a Da Vinci painting.
Fingerprint analysis?
Yep.
That's some Sherlock Holmes shit right there.
It was pretty groundbreaking stuff at the time. But of course, not everyone was buying it. Some experts reckon the fingerprint evidence was dodgy,
Right.
and that the drawing just wasn't good enough to be a Da Vinci.
So another art world mystery.
Yeah.
Another painting with a big question mark hanging over it.
Yep. But even if La Bella Principessa isn't a Da Vinci, it's still a bloody, lovely drawing.
Yeah.
And the whole debate highlights how tricky it is to authenticate these old works of art.
Right.
We're constantly learning new things about Da Vinci and his techniques.
Yeah.
So who knows what new evidence might pop up and change our understanding of these disputed works.
Right, I get it. But let's be honest, the drama is half the fun. Who doesn't love a good art world brawl?
It's definitely entertaining, but it's also important to remember that these arguments are all about trying to understand Da Vinci and his legacy.
Yeah.
We're trying to piece together the puzzle of his life and his work.
Right.
And these disputed works are like missing pieces. They challenge us, intrigue us, and keep the conversation going.
All right. I'm sold, Da Vinci, you sly dog.
Yeah.
You're still messing with us centuries later.
Uh-huh.
But let's get back to his notebooks for a sec.
Okay.
You mentioned flying machines and submarines.
Oh, yeah.
What other bonkers shit did he dream up?
Buckle up, mate, because this is where Da Vinci's genius really shines.
Okay.
We're talking about inventions so far ahead of their time,
Right.
it'll make your head spin.
Hit me with the wildest one. The one that makes you think this guy was either a genius or completely off his rocker.
How about a bloody robot?
A robot.
Yeah.
Like a real deal walking, talking robot.
Yeah.
In the 1500s.
Well, not exactly walking and talking.
Okay.
But Da Vinci designed what's considered to be the first humanoid automaton.
What?
It was a mechanical knight designed to sit up, wave its arms about, and move its head.
No way. That's
Yeah.
mental.
Yeah.
Did it actually work? Could you have a pint with this robot knight?
We don't know for sure. All we have to go on are Da Vinci's sketches and notes.
Right.
But based on his designs, experts believe it could have been built and operated.
So this guy was basically Tony Stark before Tony Stark was even a twinkle in his great-great-great-granddad's eye.
Pretty much, Da Vinci was obsessed with figuring out how things worked.
Yeah.
And he applied that obsession to everything from the human body to the mechanics of flight.
Yeah.
He was a true Renaissance man in every sense of the word.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This Da Vinci fella was a total badass. But robots weren't his only invention, were they? What else did he cook up in that brilliant mind of his?
Well, he had this idea for a giant crossbow, the kind of thing that would make a medieval siege engineer drool.
A giant crossbow. Talk about overkill. Was he planning to take down dragons with that thing?
It was designed to be absolutely massive.
Really?
Capable of launching huge projectiles over vast distances, it would have been a game changer on the battlefield.
So this guy was basically designing weapons of mass destruction, Da Vinci the Renaissance warmonger.
Let's just say he wasn't afraid to think big.
Right.
And speaking of thinking big, he also came up with designs for a flying machine.
Wait, wasn't that a helicopter thing, a magic?
That's one of his more famous designs, the aerial screw.
Right.
But he also sketched plans for a glider-like contraption
Yeah.
based on how birds fly. He was fascinated by birds and spent ages studying their movements and anatomy.
So this bloke was obsessed with getting humans off the ground. Did any of his flying machines actually work? Did he ever take one for a spin?
Sadly, no. The technology just wasn't there yet.
Right.
But his designs were incredibly innovative for their time.
Yeah.
And they paved the way for those who came after him.
Okay, so we've got robots, giant crossbows, and flying machines.
Yeah.
What else? Did he invent a self-cleaning beer glass or
I'll
something?
put a bloody tank.
A tank, like a World War I style tank.
Not quite that advanced, but he designed a prototype for an armored vehicle decked out with cannons and capable of moving in all directions.
Mhm.
It was essentially a mobile fortress designed to smash through enemy lines.
This guy was a one-man army. I'm starting to think Da Vinci was a secret supervillain in his spare time.
Well, he certainly wasn't afraid to dabble in the darker side of invention. But let's not forget that he was also a brilliant artist, a keen observer of nature, and a deep thinker who was always pushing the limits of human knowledge. He was a complicated and contradictory bloke.
Right.
And that's part of what makes him so bloody interesting.
Right, you've convinced me. This guy was the real deal. A genius, an innovator, and maybe a little bit bonkers. But what about his personal life? Was he as wild off the canvas as he was on it?
That's where things get a bit hazy. Leonardo was notoriously private about his personal life. We don't know much about his romantic relationships, or even if he had any.
Really? No juicy gossip? No scandalous affairs with duchesses or anything?
There are some theories and speculation, of course. Some historians believe he might have been homosexual, based on some of his writings and the fact that he never married.
Interesting. So he was a master of keeping secrets both in his art and in his life.
It seems that way. But even without knowing every detail of his personal life, we can still appreciate his incredible genius and the massive impact he had on the world.
All right, fair enough, Da Vinci. You were one hell of a dude. But I gotta ask, with all these unfinished projects and crazy inventions,
Yeah.
how did he ever get anything done?
Yeah.
Did he have some kind of time turner like Hermione Granger?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Maybe we'll never fully understand how Leonardo's mind worked,
Yeah.
but we can certainly marvel at the results.
All right, let's take a quick break to refill our pints and contemplate the mysteries of the universe. We'll be back in a jiffy to wrap things up and explore what Da Vinci's crazy life and work mean for us, mere mortals.
Sounds good.
All right, we've had our cheeky pint break, and hopefully those brain cells are firing again. We've covered Da Vinci's masterpieces, the art world mysteries, and his bonkers inventions. But let's get down to brass tacks. Why the hell are we still so obsessed with this bloke over 500 years after he carked it?
Because Da Vinci wasn't just some one-trick pony.
Right.
He wasn't just a brilliant artist or a gifted inventor.
Yeah.
He was both and a whole lot more.
Yeah.
He embodies this insatiable curiosity, this drive to understand everything under the sun, from how a muscle works to how the planets move.
So he was like the ultimate multitasker,
Yeah.
the king of side hustles.
It was more than just multitasking. Da Vinci saw connections that others missed.
Yeah.
He understood that art and science weren't separate boxes, but different ways of looking at the same bloody world.
Right. He was like the original Renaissance man.
Yeah.
The bloke who could do it all.
Exactly. And that's why we're still talking about him. Da Vinci represents this ideal of human potential.
Okay.
The idea that we can achieve amazing things if we're willing to push the boundaries of knowledge and imagination.
So he's like a poster boy for human achievement.
In a way, yes. But he's also a cautionary tale.
A cautionary tale? What do you mean?
Da Vinci was famous for starting projects and never finishing them, always chasing the next shiny thing.
Right?
And while that led to some incredible breakthroughs, it also meant that loads of his projects were left unfinished.
Sounds familiar. I got a half-written screenplay and a gym membership I haven't used in months. Maybe I'm more like Da Vinci than I thought.
Perhaps we all are. Da Vinci's legacy reminds us that we're all capable of great things.
Yeah.
But our time on this planet is limited. We've got to choose our battles and focus on what really matters.
Deep stuff, mate.
Yeah.
So what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive into Da Vinci's world?
Remember that Da Vinci wasn't just a name in a dusty history book.
Okay.
He was a real person, flaws and all. But he also had this incredible gift, this ability to see the world differently.
Yeah.
And that's something we can all aspire to see the beauty and the wonder in the everyday, to ask questions, to experiment, and to never stop bloody learning.
Beautifully put, mate. Well, folks, that's a wrap on our Da Vinci deep dive. We've explored his masterpieces, dug up some juicy mysteries, and gawked at his mind-blowing inventions. But this is just the start. Go out there, explore Da Vinci's work for yourself, and see what you uncover. And if you stumble across a lost notebook with plans for a time machine, give us a shout. We'd love to have you back on the show. Until then, keep those minds curious and those imaginations firing.
Cheers to that.
And to Leonardo, you magnificent bastard. Cheers.